Hello everybody and welcome to the Cody Zone. My name's Cody and I'm here with Chuggaaconroy.
Wow, you actually remember my second A.
That's right, it's Chugga A. Conroy is his name. I understand you got it from like a random name generator or something?
Yeah, when I was 8 years old, and I had no idea that it would end up, following me this long.
Was that, what were you playing, like Habbo Hotel or Neopets or RuneScape or something? What's this from?
CartoonNetwork.com.
CartoonNetwork.com.
Yep.
Well, there you go. If you want to get a good name, go to CartoonNetwork.com, and you too may be the next Chugga A. Conroy.
Everyone always forgets my second A, though. I don't know how good of a username it really is.
Yeah, well, what does the middle name stand for? What's the middle A stand for?
I've never actually canonically stated that. I just realized.
Ooh.
Never made that officially canon.
Exclusive interview right here. What is the A in Chugga A. Conroy?
I don't know, but it might be the most neglected A of all time, even more so than the A that goes before Game of Thrones.
Well, it's a mystery. You can leave your ideas.
A mystery.
Yeah. Because it's got the letter A in it. Welcome, everybody. This is Chuggaaconroy.
Hi.
Chugga A. Conroy.
Hello.
And I'm here to interview him, in fact, because this is someone you may have heard of, because he has not one follower on YouTube, not two followers, not three. I'm not going to count this all the way up to 1.2 million, but 1.2 million followers on YouTube right now. So, Chugga A. Conroy, who are you?
Who am I? What an existential question. Okay. Yeah, I make Let's Play videos on YouTube, do all sorts of Nintendo games, and, yeah, I've done a few Zelda games before as well, and I'm just really a big fan of a lot of different game series.
So you do Let's Plays, is your main thing that you do. You've been branching off into a few other things like panels and at conventions and this kind of thing, but the main thing you do is Let's Plays.
Yeah. We do a live game show at different conventions. We also have our charity event, the Coliseum, which happened for the first time this year with the Zeldathon people.
Ooh.
And, yeah, we just kind of make internet videos of people talking about video games. That's kind of the most general sense that I can describe it as, because our game show is also video game themed.
And so, something that I've always been interested in is that you're really big into YouTube, but you've never really moved into this Twitch space, really, even though it's the most... For a lot of gaming channels, it's sort of taken over as the main type of gaming content. Is there a reason for that? Do you just, like, prefer certain things about doing it, the old way?
Well, personally, I think first and foremost, I'm an editor. That's what I enjoy doing. I know that a lot of people don't, but I enjoy the process of editing, and I like making produced videos, which isn't really what Twitch is for. But it's kind of funny that we're talking about this right now, because one of the reasons why I had never used Twitch, like, ever, was because my username was already taken. I had the roughest time getting a hold of my username, where every time I tried getting in touch with them or seeing if I could get somebody to hand it over, it would just end in failure every time. But eventually, finally, recently, my username was actually switched back over to me, so I have it now. I haven't decided if I'm going to do anything with it or when, but that's the main reason why I haven't really used Twitch, was just not having my username, and any attempts to get it were just not working.
And you didn't want to switch your middle name? You didn't want to be Chugga B. Conroy or anything?
That might have been such a good idea, and I didn't think of it.
So, how did you get involved with Zelda Universe, and when was that?
Well, I'd been a user of Zelda Universe since before making videos. I used it as a resource, and it's been around since 2003, I'm wanting to say?
The site's been around since, about 2001 or 2002, but it sort of took off a few years after that.
Yeah, I'd been a user, maybe not like an active user though, but I'd lurked and used it as a resource plenty of times, and read threads there as well, some of the articles and theories that have been presented, which I think has always been one of the site's strong suits and where it has a lot of its roots. And when I was getting ready to make my first Zelda videos, when I was, just starting out, I went onto the forums and I found you as the administrator who was online at the time, and I messaged you asking if I could have some help planning things out from an expert, and immediately you were just all, the rest is history, I guess. Now your accolades have been very interesting to follow since that day, because I had no idea what kind of life that I was getting involved in at that stage.
Yeah, that's they call it the Cody Zone.
Everything that you just No, you have some kind of, for those of you that have followed Cody since the early days of Zelda Universe having a YouTube channel, or even before that, like, Cody Davies is like the Kramer of the internet, I think, where he has some kind of wacky scheme that, like, nobody thinks will ever work, where it's like, one week it's like, I'm gonna be a reality TV show star, and then the next week, oh, I'm gonna get elected to Congress, and, like, you have no idea, like, where he's getting these ideas, and yet they all just kind of work out for him somehow.
Yeah, look, that's a great title, the Kramer of the internet. It's almost as good as the one YouTube comment that I'll treasure forever that said, "You're the Jay-Z of Minecraft," which, look, it's just, you know, I want to frame that on my wall, that I'm the Jay-Z of Minecraft. I don't know what it means, but it's real good. So, yeah, like, we've known each other since, like, when did you do that Wind Waker Let's Play?
That was 2009, I think, end of 2009.
2009, so it's your longest ongoing Let's Play that you haven't finished, is it?
I think it might actually be the most overdue bonus video. For those that don't know, one of my things is a lot of my early series, I promised bonus videos where I'm like, okay, we'll go over all these topics that we never have, and then I never did that, and even though I've been perfectly fine with doing bonus videos for the last 5 or 6 years, people still love telling me I'm awful at bonus videos.
Yeah, it's great times. You got a few bonus videos around, because you've done 5 Zelda games on your channel: Wind Waker, Majora's Mask, Link's Awakening, Skyward Sword, and Okami. And you've got a few bonus videos between Wind Waker. I think Okami still has some, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and ouch, nobody remembers Okami Den, but okay.
Oh, I guess. Okay, I'll count Okami Den.
Half a Zelda game.
It's half a Zelda game. Speaking of your Zelda Let's Plays, like, what are your thoughts on them now? Are there any that are sort of like a favorite that you think you did real well, or ones that you're sort of think that, you know, maybe you could have done better, or anything like that?
I'll say straight up, nobody likes their own early videos, and Wind Waker is kind of in that zone for me. It feels like that line of what counts as early videos just keeps moving forward and forward and forward as time goes by.
I mean, my definition of early videos, I think, is before the limit switched from 11 minutes. It's probably my definition of your early videos.
Wind Waker was 11 minutes, so...
like, do you feel like that impacted on your Wind Waker Let's Play? Because I know you redid your Earthbound one, feeling that you skipped a bunch of content because you didn't like the 11-minute limit.
Yeah, I had to kind of rush through like a speedrun and didn't really get to show a lot of things or stop and smell the roses, and that's kind of what that game is. But yeah, Wind Waker was definitely in that early period. Let's see. I think Skyward Sword was very fun to do. It was really, really fun just showing the characters to people and, you know, I guess just kind of exploring the world, telling the story, and, you know, exploring the side plots, because I really tried to work in a lot of minor NPC dialogue of, you know, what's going on in these people's lives and trying to give everybody, you know, the spotlight as much as I could, because that game, I think, definitely excels in its characters and side quests. I will say that I admittedly, like, I guess beyond the era that I consider early videos, I'm not that big of a fan of my Link's Awakening videos, actually. I don't think that it was really that good of a fit for me in the end, but I don't know, I guess some people liked it.
Yeah, well, I think it's interesting. I mean, thematically, it's similar to Majora's Mask in a lot of ways, so I think there's interesting stuff to cover there, but do you feel like do you have a general distinction between, like, your, you know, like, your 3D videos and 2D game videos, or early, like, games from before the 2000 and after, or anything like that? Like, is there any particular, like, era that you think, oh, I do well in these kinds of games?
I feel like more often than not, it's the story-driven games that tend to work better for me. Maybe I just get really into, like, telling the story. Maybe I get really into re-experiencing the story myself. I'm not really sure why, but it's something that I have noticed with time, is that I tend to do better with more story-driven experiences.
So, do you think that Skyward Sword, since your Let's Play of it, I think Breath of the Wild was released after your Let's Play of it, was it? Or was it around the same time?
It was in the middle. Yeah, I was about 2/3 done with the game, and then Breath of the Wild was released. It's kind of funny. I came off recording one night, and then I got an email from Nintendo that, you know, was completely unexpected. It's like, hi, just to confirm, you are okay with receiving a Nintendo Switch and Breath of the Wild tomorrow? And I'm like, excuse me? And, like, this was over a month before the Switch was even going to be released, and there was no hint that they were going to do this before. So when they said that, I'm just like, all right, okay, all right. And then I responded back to that email, and I'm like, I mean, yes, if that's what you intend, I can definitely accept that, and, you know, I'd be happy to. And they're just like, okay, you know, thank you for, like, all you do, and, like, thank you for, you know, representing our games on YouTube and all that. And I'm just like, all right, thank you. And I was just, like, so over the moon that, like, Nintendo had emailed me about something like that I went back and recorded, like, 5 more videos with the newfound energy I had.
So do you feel like that changed, the release of Breath of the Wild changed your views on Skyward Sword at all? Was there anything that, like, your perspective on Skyward Sword changed during the Let's Play because Breath of the Wild had come out?
I think that it was good that I'd played Breath of the Wild around the same time, because, a lot of the ideas that they had for Breath of the Wild, they'd actually had since around Twilight Princess or so, and you can see shades of them trying to do something like Breath of the Wild in both Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword. So it was kind of interesting to see where those ideas began, because Breath of the Wild and Skyward Sword actually do have a lot of similarities. And I think that even though I did kind of get to see what those ideas would ultimately become, and I felt like that did, I guess, date Skyward Sword a little bit, there's also the fact that it did give me a greater appreciation for the storytelling, because the presentation of the story is top-notch. I do wish that Skyward Sword got to be the first one with voice acting, but I'm not personally, like, I don't personally dislike Breath of the Wild story, but I do think that Skyward Sword definitely does win out in story presentation.
Yeah, actually, on the topic of Breath of the Wild, what are your thoughts on it? Is it a real Zelda game?
Boy. Okay. My words for this are actually lifted from the Zelda Universe panel at MagFest last year, because I think it puts it so succinctly. No one has ever said Triforce Heroes doesn't count as a real Zelda game. Yes, it counts.
You know, it is a sort of a departure from something like Skyward Sword, but, like, do you think that that's something that, like, is that a positive move? Because you like Skyward Sword,
yeah.
You know, but was it a positive move to this other stuff in Breath of the Wild, do you think?
I mean, I do like Skyward Sword. I do think that the last third of the game is definitely the weakest, where they just have you revisiting the same areas again for, you know, second time over, and not a lot changed. I do like the game, though, but I do think that Breath of the Wild is a positive move. I think it was high time to try new things. They had these ideas for a very long time, and you could see them. Again, like, the fact that Skyward Sword and Twilight Princess have a lot of similarities to it, you can see that this is where they were going with it for a while. And, you know, where do you really draw the line of it has to have not more than this many new ideas to not count as a new Zelda game, when a lot of the ideas in Breath of the Wild all existed before, just not really at the same time. And I also think that Breath of the Wild is the most like Zelda 1 of any game since Zelda 1.
Yeah.
And with that argument, you could say that it's the most Zelda-like game that there is, if you really consider the original game to be what the series, you know, should be. I don't personally think that way, but I think that there is an argument to be made there for people who do feel that way.
Yeah, it's really interesting what Breath of the Wild has done. Do you think, in terms of the next Zelda game, in terms of Zelda 2020 or whatever, what do you think, like, what should be kept and what should be dropped? Where do you think the Zelda series should go in the future?
Okay. I actually do like the shrines. I do like them a lot. I'm not sure if I'd have that many of them if it came at the expense of having big dungeons throughout the world. I don't think I'm alone in saying that I want more than 6 large dungeons in the world, because I think I would like to see that a bit more. Shrines are nice for a pick-up-and-play kind of thing, because it was always nice whenever I was waiting someplace and it would give me something to do that I could do from start to finish. With the Switch being portable, I think that was a good fit. I'm fine with the open world. I'm fine with the items and how they worked. I'm fine with weapon durability being a mechanic. Personally, I don't dislike the weapon durability. I know that it feels really weak when you first start the game, but it encouraged me to try new things in ways that I don't think I would have otherwise.
Yeah, a lot of people felt like the bosses were a bit weak.
Yeah, I can agree there.
And that the dungeons, they felt like the dungeons didn't really count as big dungeons. What did you think of the 4, Flying Bird and Movie Camel and all of their friends?
All the animal friends. Well, I have to say that that Varuda, I hope I have the name right. The Zora one. That one really blew me away the first time I did it. Not so much for the dungeon itself, but just the spectacle of getting into it for the first time, and that being the first dungeon that I'd found. That was an unforgettable moment where I'm just like, okay, wow, that was just entering the first dungeon. Wow. I think that was one of the highs that I had in that entire playthrough. I like the creativity of moving the dungeon itself to change things inside of it, but I will say that as, I guess, a traditional Zelda dungeon, I think that actually Link's Divine Beast was the most like that. I think that, it is... I felt like it was longer and bigger than the other two. I felt like it had a lot more to do. It felt a lot more like a traditional Zelda dungeon, how fitting that it's Link's dungeon.
Yeah. Well, actually, my favorite dungeon in the game, or which possibly the best dungeon in the entire series, is Hyrule Castle in Breath of the Wild.
Yes, I was going to get to that after that, but I agree with you. What do you like about it?
Well, it's just the atmosphere and the fact that they bring you into it early in the game, like they trick you. At just some random stables, there's just some guy saying, "Oh, could you go get me some like weapons from the Hyrule Castle?" And you're there with like 3 hearts, and you go, "Sure, great, that sounds like great fun." And you go in and you're being shot by lasers, and there's towers, and you get locked into rooms with horrifying monsters, and you're trying to sneak around this giant evil disaster zone, and that was just like a really great atmosphere.
I can agree there. I actually didn't find that quest until near the end of the game. I took a really off the beaten path after getting off the Great Plateau.
Yeah. So
I didn't have that experience, but I agree with you. The atmosphere is great. I like how just it takes a familiar location, makes it very threatening in a way that I don't think had been done quite to that effect before. Even though Dark Hyrule Castle has been a dungeon in Minish Cap, Twilight Princess, and a few other times, I think that it was done to the best effect in Breath of the Wild. So
that's your thoughts on The Legend of Zelda. What are your thoughts on your own future prospects? Do you think in 20 years, are you envisioning yourself as a Let's Player who's gonna, sit in his rocking chair and wag his cane? Or are you going to be like, oh, I'm going to take my skills in video production and try and get into the TV industry or something? Like, what are your plans for, I guess, if YouTube doesn't last forever?
Okay, well, I know that YouTube will not last forever. Everyone's day will come eventually. Like, that just happens. It's the nature of the beast. I would like to keep doing this as long as I can because I do really like doing this. I like making videos for the internet, and I would gladly do it as long as I still realistically could. There's always this thought, like, I remember in my early 20s I was thinking that, when I'm 30, it's going to, I'm going to be way too old to be doing this. It just isn't going to work anymore. But meanwhile, I see Lucajin being in her 40s, and she's still as great as ever, and, I would never think of her as, an age or anything like that. She's just a really good personality, and that does give me a lot of hope and motivation for thinking that, maybe there is no, too old to do this.
I guess if you, past YouTube, are you happy to continue in, I guess the space of, because there's the production side of things, there's the release side of things, and then there's, the fan side of things. Are you still wanting to do something for a big audience, or, to interact directly with an audience? Is that something that is of interest to you?
The interactive nature is something that's very unique to the internet, I feel. And I feel like that's part of the experience that I would always want to have if I could.
Yeah.
So that's part of the reason why I didn't just, go off and try to work for somebody else.
Well, good luck for the future, Chugga A. Conroy. We'll end our interview here. If you have any ideas on Chugga A. Conroy's middle name, be sure to let us know.
I'd like to hear them too.
Otherwise, you can follow Chuggaaconroy on his channel, and you can follow us on our podcast, and we'll have a great time.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Thank you, everyone. And I guess I'll talk to you another time because I can never seem to get rid of you.
Thank you. And give us one of your famous sign-outs.
See you guys then.
Peace.
The pause. I love you, man. I love you, man. I love you, man.